So, I want to show you a little bit of what's happening right now in occupied Palestine in Jerusalem. Okay, so this is an article from Asa Winstanley, who we had on the show. Again, brilliant reporter and great journalist. Let me read this to you. Right. So the title is Israel's Pogroms in Jerusalem. Okay, this is published April 23rd, 2021. So Asa says that the Encyclopedia Britannica defines a pogrom as a, quote, mob attack, either approved or condoned by authorities against the persons and property of a religious, racial, or national minority, unquote. And that is exactly what is happening today against the Palestinian people in Jerusalem. Palestinians are not a minority in Palestine, the country that lies between the Jordan River and the Mediterranean Sea. But due to Israel's apartheid regime that has ruled the country since 1948, the majority of Palestinians were expelled from the areas that today form so-called Israel proper, and which many Palestinians term 1948 Palestine. Right? So that includes, if you've seen my cousin Roni before on the show, who's half Palestinian. Why is he half Palestinian? Because his grandfather, he's one of the millions of Palestinians who had their homes taken from them and were expelled from Palestine by the Jewish colonizers, the colonial settlers who came from Europe and elsewhere in the world in 1948. Okay, so his grandfather is Palestinian, and he came to Syria because of that. Right, Syria took in millions of Palestinians, as did Jordan, and there's a large Palestinian diaspora. So let's continue here. So due to a slow process of Israeli ethnic cleansing since then, Palestinians are no longer the majority in Jerusalem. But in recent weeks, that process has sped up in that city, the historic capital of Palestine. And another thing that I would add also about Jerusalem, just to give you some more background info, sometimes you'll hear people talk about East Jerusalem. Now, in the 1967 war, since 1967, Israel has occupied East Jerusalem, the Syrian Golan Heights, okay? And, it's important because it's still occupying them to this day illegally. So there are multiple UN Security Council resolutions, 242, I lose count, but they were all unanimously approved by the UN Security Council. That means everyone on the UN Security Council, including the P5. So China, Russia, France, UK, and United States. Even the United States, this is illegal, go away. Just to give you an idea of how illegal the occupation is. And they're still there, okay? But again, that's just, if we're being frank here, and we're not just talking about the UN Security Council's opinion, the entirety of Palestine is under illegal occupation, not just East Jerusalem, if we're being frank, if we're being honest, if we're being realistic, okay? But I'm just giving you an idea of how Israel gets away with anything. It does, the UN doesn't even hold Israel accountable properly. So, just continuing what Asa is writing here, some truly terrifying clips have been circulated online, including by credible journalists, showing rampaging mobs of mostly young Israeli men attacking Palestinians in Jerusalem and chanting, quote, "death to Arabs," unquote. And here it says, while being incited and led by mainstream Israeli political and religious leaders. So you see here, I'm going to zoom in for you. Jewish supremacists saying burning Arabs today. And I feel like it's important to note something here. There is no problem between Jews and Arabs. Okay? There is a problem in Palestine between Zionists and Arabs. Zionists are people who think that, Palestine should be turned into, an ethno-state that is placing Jews as superior to everyone else. Okay, you've had Jews living in the Levant in the Middle East for thousands of years, for millennia, with, Christians, with Muslims. There's no problem there. Okay? So don't buy into their propaganda. They want you to believe that there's a conflict because they can justify all of this crap. Fundamentally, there is no conflict. So this is a political issue. It's not a religious one. Okay, just so we're clear. And Here you can see that David Sheen posting on Twitter that hundreds of Jewish supremacists, again I would say Zionists frankly, but yeah, it's kind of the same thing if you want, descend upon Palestinian East Jerusalem chanting death to Arabs. Okay, we're not done, huh? So here you can see, this is from Jewish Voice for Peace. Look at this. They're posting here, armed far-right Israeli civilians attack a Palestinian home while children are crying. So, I mean, this is astonishing. You see how they treat the Arabs, but not the people saying death to Arabs? You see that? So Asa goes on to say this is not a new phenomenon, but it has increased in recent weeks, partly due to a ruling by an Israeli court demanding new expulsions of Palestinian families from the Jerusalem neighborhood of Sheikh Jarrah. The families have been given until the start of May to leave their homes and hand them over to Israeli settlers. These actions by the apartheid state of Israel have only encouraged the, quote, death to Arabs hate mobs, and therein lies the key to understating the essence of a pogrom. A pogrom is carried out by violent mobs who are deemed in the discourse of the government and of the corporate media to be extremists. There is no doubt that some of these mobs are far-right Jewish supremacist extremists by any objective definition, but they are not extremists in terms of the mainstream of Israeli political discourse and, crucially, of the actions of the racist state itself. You can see this very clearly in a viral video clip that was circulated by the American anti-Zionist group Jewish Voice for Peace. Here, I want to show you this clip, okay? Please, if there's one thing you do with your day, share this clip.
We take house after house. All this area will be a Jewish neighborhood. We are not finished the job. We are going to the next neighborhood, and after that we will go more. Our dream that all East Jerusalem will be like West Jerusalem, Jewish capital of Israel. אני רואה בזה המשך של המפעל היהודי-ציוני, המשך שיבת ציון, זה הכל. זה בא על חשבון הערבים? כן, גם בג"ץ והכנסת בנויים על חשבון ערבים, וגם המדינה כאן הוקמה, כן, על חשבון חלק מהתושבים הערבים שגרו פה. וזהו.
You heard it straight from the horse's mouth. You heard it straight from the horse's mouth. And if you think that that is something that just happened once, no. How do you think Israel was built? He's just telling you that our government institutions and the state itself were built at the expense of Arabs. And there's a recent video, okay, that just went viral on social media.
שישרף לכם הכפר, מוות לערבים, זה מייצג אותך?
אולי לא בדרך ובצורה הזאת, אבל אני...
באיזה דרך את?
אני מדברת יפה. אני לא אומרת שישרף לכם הכפר, אני אומרת שאתם תעזבו את הכפר ואז נגור בו. זה בדיוק מה שאנחנו עושים בעיר העתיקה.
Let me play that again. Pay attention.
שישרף לכם הכפר, מוות לערבים, זה מייצג אותך?
אולי לא בדרך ובצורה הזאת, אבל אני...
באיזה דרך את?
אני מדברת יפה. אני לא אומרת שישרף לכם הכפר, אני אומרת שאתם תעזבו את הכפר ואז נגור בו. זה בדיוק מה שאנחנו עושים בעיר העתיקה.
I love this video. I love this video. You know why? Because this is the essence of Zionism. Just like she said, no, I'm not saying we should burn their villages. No, I speak it in a mannered way. She said mannered way. We'll kick them out of their villages and then take them. Although again, that's even to say that that's the essence of Zionism is not true, because people were massacred when they took over Palestine. Okay, there was this is a proper genocide and ethnic cleansing that we're talking about. They wiped out entire villages. But this shows you the difference between the first guy and this woman. It shows you the difference between Zionists who have no filter and regular people who just support Israel. It's the same thing. It's exactly the same thing. At the end of the day, you are ethnically cleansing Palestine. You are removing an entire population and displacing them to come and fill it with your own. And that is ethnic cleansing. That is a war crime. That is not just a war crime. As a matter of fact, it's a crime against humanity, right? That's what the Nazis were tried for at Nuremberg. That wasn't just a war crimes tribunal. It was a tribunal for crimes against humanity, for genocide, for ethnic cleansing, for transfer of population. Okay? And that's why, Israel has to do these PR things, right? They have to call themselves, we're the only democracy in the Middle East, right? That's why they continuously market themselves as being more civilized, because they have to hide the apartheid, the ethnic cleansing, the genocide, the violation of international law, the crimes against humanity. That's why they have a lobby that goes after people who are pro-BDS, who speak out against Israel. That's why they intimidate them, because you can't expose the truth, right? If you expose what Israel is, which is a settler colonialist project that was created by Britain, then the whole thing falls apart, because people go like, what the fuck? Yes, indeed, what the fuck? Indeed. Right? And so just going back to Asa's article, which I really love. So, that clip where they're taking over this home over here. I mean, just look at that, like how they push aside this poor woman and just literally take over her fucking house. This is every day. This is what Palestinians are going through, right? They have their homes confiscated from them, bulldozed in front of them. And we're supposed to believe that this is a democracy or some kind of civilized entity. So the clip was from a 2009 film about Sheikh Jarrah, but as Jewish Voice for Peace notes, it could have easily been filmed today. Expulsions of Palestinians by mobs of highly ideological religious Zionist fanatics are still frequently carried out in the same way seen in the clip. But the most telling part of the video is perhaps not so much the actions of the mob itself, but how they are endorsed and backed by the racist state. Exactly, just look at them standing around. It won't play. You see, they are there to support that. They're not there to break anything up. No, they're there to protect the people stealing Palestinians' homes. That's how Israel is built. You see the thugs of Israel's highly armed military border police force standing by and watching TV. Man, by the way, I have not. I love this article. It's just exactly what I'm trying to explain. And by the way, the border police, you can tell them apart because they're in gray, these gray uniforms, right? The olive ones, that's the Israeli occupation forces, their so-called military. But the ones in gray, that's their border police. They're the ones who killed Iyad Halla almost a year ago, the 32-year-old with autism. That was border police. So you see the thugs of Israel's highly armed military border police force standing by and watching the takeover, making sure that the Palestinians are not able to defend themselves or their homes. This is the very definition of a pogrom. In the clip posted by Jewish Voice for Peace, Israeli settler leader Jonathan Yosef is shamelessly explicit about all this, saying, "We take house after house. All this area will be a Jewish neighborhood. We are going to the next neighborhood, and after that we'll go 2 more. Our dream is that all East Jerusalem will be like West Jerusalem, a Jewish capital of Israel," which you just saw in the clip. And he then gives a far clearer, far more honest, and frankly more accurate definition of Zionism than the lying dissimulators of liberal and left-wing Zionism ever could, with their nonsense about Jewish self-determination in a country which has never been exclusively Jewish. See, I see this as a continuation of the Zionist project, the return to Zion. Is it at the Arabs' expense? Yes. But our government institutions were also built at the expense of Arabs who lived here, and so was the state itself. Everything Yosef says in this definition of Zionism is objectively true. The difference, though, is that he thinks that such violent racist extremism is good and praiseworthy, while I and the vast majority of people around the world reject it as a horrifying injustice. And I just want to show you some more clips of what's happening right now in Jerusalem. I mean, that is pretty terrifying, honestly. Like, can you honestly watch that and show me the difference between the state, the so-called state, the border police, the military police. Sorry, not military police, just the occupation forces is how we should call them. Can you show me difference between them and the angry mobs? The only difference is that the angry mobs have no weapons. That's the only difference. But the behavior towards the Palestinians is the same. Look, here they shoot a Palestinian journalist as well who's filming. So I'm not sure if that was fatal or not, but you know, in case you don't know, Israel is quite famous for killing journalists. You know, that's nothing surprising. Journalists and medics. Yeah, I wish I was exaggerating because then maybe you know, less people would have died. No, that's something they do regularly. Again, I told you why, because they can't have people exposing what they do, right? And so it's interesting watching the mainstream media. If you look how they're defining this in the mainstream media right now, what's happening in Jerusalem, right? You just type a simple Google search, okay? I'm just gonna put Jerusalem, although for some reason all my news popped up in Spanish. I don't know why. Hold on, I have to switch language, I think. Okay, wonderful. Yeah, so you can look at how they're reporting this. Look at what they say. They say this is Al Jazeera, Israeli police clash with Palestinian protesters. Fresh clashes. Arab-Jewish clashes. I mean, there's a big difference here when you have clashes and people who are trying to commit genocide and ethnic cleansing. I mean, could you imagine the reaction if you had, in any given country, pick a country, you had angry mobs in the street calling for the death of whatever ethnic group? People would be outraged and they would report it, that you have angry mobs calling, chanting death to XYZ. But when they do it to Palestinians, they never report that. They can't report that. No, they say it's clashes. Clashes, really. I'm pretty sure that these people are clear about what they want, and they're very straightforward too. They're straight up saying that they want to kick Palestinians out. Some of them want to do it by burning them, and others want to do it, as this person says, in a peaceful way, whatever that means in this context. Here, this is from Robert. He shows, Israeli occupation forces beating a defenseless Palestinian. Again, this is all from last few days, huh? What the fuck is that? 20, what is that, like 10, 20 people on top of him? Did you see him put a rifle butt? He tried to beat him with the rifle as well. Did you see that? Honestly, I'm astonished how anyone can look at this and tell me that these are, forces of a so-called democratic state, and this is not a pogrom. I mean, look at this picture. I think a picture really says 1,000 words here. You can see how they treat the Israeli Zionist settlers and how they treat the Palestinians, right? So, I mean, if we take their word for it that there are clashes, I mean, shouldn't you be treating both parties the same and trying to calm them down and not vilifying one and then giving the other a pass? Look at that, with his arm around him. I mean, really, this is like, I'm just not even surprised anymore. I'm not even surprised anymore. This is nothing. You know, as horrible as this is nothing compared to the last 70 plus years of how Palestinians have been treated. It's like every single day it just gets worse and worse and worse, right? If you go look at Operation Protective Edge, the ground invasion of Gaza, you look at Operation Cast Lead, you look at, I mean, the Nakba itself, in 48, when they kicked all the Palestinians out, this pales in comparison. It's just that they're continuing it and no one is reporting about it except, you know, Asa and other good journalists, but mainstream media cover it up, right? Here, more footage. You know, when we're talking about evictions here, when we're talking about Sheikh Jarrah, I don't know if Asa went into in this article. I'm sure he's talked about it before, but those are the residents that they're going to expel. I think about 500 of them, right? So, you know, they have until May, and they're going to kick them out, basically, right? These are families who've lived in Palestine for generations, and now they have to leave their homes to make way for settlers, for colonialists from Europe, from who knows where. Definitely not from Palestine, right? I mean, I find this whole concept ridiculous. It's horrific, really. I don't know what to say. I feel like I've I mean, obviously I'm never going to stop being outraged at this, but I am. You know, their whole premise, the whole premise of this is what? Is that, oh, you know, our ancestors used to live here 3,000 years ago, 2,000 years ago. This land is rightfully ours. It's the promised land, so you have to leave. Dude, I mean, could you imagine if I went to, like, I don't know, I went to France and I told them, well, you know, one of my ancestors from before William the Conqueror used to live here in northern France, so give me your house. The French government would tell me, go and fuck yourself, but apparently it's okay to do that to Palestinians if you are Jewish, and more specifically a Zionist, right? Not from Palestine, so you're a settler, a colonialist settler from Europe, from wherever. Apparently it's okay to do that. And then you get funding, you get billions of dollars a year in funding from the United States, and you get a permanent seat at the United Nations Security Council via the United States and the UK and France. It comes with a lot of nice perks, doesn't it? I'm just disgusted at this, but I really wanted to show you the difference. I think it's so striking and revealing how one of them is like, we're going to burn the Arabs, and the other one's, no, we shouldn't burn them, but we're still going to kick them out of their homes. that is the only difference between a right-wing Jewish supremacist Israeli and a regular Israeli. At the end, they still want to take over Palestinian land. That's the only difference, is that one of them wants to do it by burning and the other one wants to do it in a mannered way, whatever the fuck that means. I don't know how you can kick someone out of their home in a mannered way. I'm pretty sure that's fucking rude, right? So anyway, just remember how this is just one of so many things that happens in Palestine almost on a daily basis, and no one covers it. And even when they do cover it, they try to frame it as if it's just, again, it's a level playing field, right? It's not, oh, Palestinians are responding to angry mobs chanting death to Arabs. No, it's clashes. Like just it's a clash, vague clashes, whatever. And it's the same thing with the war, right? Oh, these Palestinians, they're firing rockets. Not, these Palestinians have no air force, no navy. They definitely don't have any nuclear warheads. They're under siege. They've been under occupation for 73 years. They have no goddamn food. Everything is crumbling. And they're resisting an illegal occupation. No. They talk about it as if it's a level playing field. Like, yeah, of course, the Israelis have a navy. The Israelis have nuclear warheads and an air force. And so do the Palestinians, right? It's just a fight. Like these people in the Middle East, they're just fighting. That's not reporting. That's fucking propaganda. You're doing propaganda for the Israeli Foreign Ministry. That's what it is. So, although again, to call it a foreign ministry, it's a propaganda department. So I just wanted to bring more awareness to that, and as we're always doing, and it won't be my last video on Sheikh Jarrah, so we're going to keep talking about that. But this is what's been happening the last couple of days, so I wanted to shine some light on it and expose how no one is covering it in the media as well, right? Even in so-called independent media, you have so many people that won't touch this because they're still afraid of the Zionist lobby. That's how they win, man. How do you stand up to a bully? You stand up to a bully. You stand up to them. You don't cower away. So that's not going to work. That's not going to work. And, you have too many people who are afraid to cover this. I think that's not acceptable. And, another thing that I wanted to point out, because this is connected, it's like you have the Israelis training American cops, right? That knee on the neck thing with George Floyd, a lot of police departments in the US go to the Israelis for training. There's a program for that. So, that's also something that concerns Americans on a domestic front, not to mention the fact you are literally paying for their military on top of it. But yeah. Anyway, it's so that's great. We have 300 people watching. Please remember to hit the like button because of the algorithm. And I'm going to try and read your super chats, right? So if you have any questions, if you have any I'm stretching. If you have any notes, please send them over here. There we go. You have a QR code thingy for whatever, Venmo, PayPal, Cash App. So just let me get to them, all right? Just slow down, guys. I'm going to get to each one of them. Again, YouTube makes me like go into the settings to find them. For some reason, it won't show them to me. But we're going to do that because we got this. Okay. Oh, and by the way, you should definitely sign up for the Substack. It's free, although I appreciate all the paid subscriptions because now it encourages me, kind of forces me rather to write, although I love it anyway, so it's fine. But yeah, definitely sign up for the newsletter so you get, notifications and stuff. Okay, so I found the super chats. Wonderful. Wonderful, boy. So we got one here from And Now CJ. And Now CJ says, what's almost worse than apartheid and atrocities against Palestinians, the millions who buy the propaganda and don't care or think it's a two-sided conflict like Syria and Yemen. They are the same. See? We're on the same vibe, the same wavelength, right? Very similar to what I just said. And thank you for the support and just exactly. Shadow Band Refugee says, crushing almonds in the name of milk is almond aside and nut aside. People of conscience simply cannot abide. See, that rhymes. I don't know what that means, but it rhymes, so good work. Is this anything to do with the joke I made about almonds the other day, about almond milk? Anyway, Comrade Lo-Fi, thank you for the sticker, as well as Big Baby Zubas. Thank you as well for your super stickers. I got one over here from Ophelia, thank you for the emojis and the support. I appreciate it. Jim over here says, thanks for all your great work and having Jimmy Dore on live. You're most welcome, Jim. And also, it's my pleasure to have Jimmy Dore on. David sent 2 super chats. One of them is a sticker, and the other one says Ryan Grift. I actually barely know who that guy is. I mean, I know, you know, he works as a journalist, but I had barely even heard of him until a few months ago. And then I don't know why he... What is that line name from The Office? Like, why are you the way that you are? So anyway, man, it's whatever. They just want to keep running cover for, you know, establishment politicians, really. So Matt Bell says, keep up great work, you two. Again, some of these are from the Jimmy Live, so in case you're wondering. Matt says, keep up the great work, you two. Some of the only honest voices out there. Not an expert. However, being a former cop and soldier who left those professions because of what I witnessed and the treatment of those who go against the norm are treated. I would love to talk with either or both of you about it all. That could be some very interesting insight, actually. So first of all, thank you for the support, Matt. And I would actually very much be interested in if you know you have some anecdotal things you want to talk about, or just more broadly. So, especially if that made you leave. I mean, you know, there are people who kind of just, you know, they do that stuff and then much later on they kind of reflect back on it. But if it actually made you leave, I'm actually curious to hear what happened or what you saw. So, you know, hit me up on my email, rmedhurst@protonmail.com. And thank you for the support. Journeyman Pete says, thanks for your work, Richard. Thank you, Pete. Pooper Scooper, nice name, says, Jimmy, do you know Alden's number? I don't know. Jimmy's not here anymore. I'll ask him, though. FR says, thank you, Richard and Jimmy. Thank you. I appreciate it, FR. Kristen says, nothing. It's just a sticker. I appreciate it. David says, she touched her nose as she started lying. Wait, who are we talking about? Oh, AOC, right. So the video we played earlier. Yeah. I actually didn't notice that. I'm not like a body language expert, but I know I know bullshit when I hear it. So there you go. I do have a bullshit detector. So RSFO sent Danish crowns, I believe. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. And you know, much love to everyone watching overseas, wherever you are, everywhere. Everyone basically watching is overseas. But I like seeing people who may not be in the United States because it means that we're reaching more people, because most people watch are in the United States. Anyway, that's just cool. Gina says, Jimmy, please unblock me on Twitter. Ooh. You've been very naughty then. I didn't know what I did. Oh, okay, you haven't. Sorry, Gina. Her handle is @GGIsMe. Love you both. Keep up the good work, holding the quote-unquote progressives accountable. All right, I'll try and investigate why you've been blocked. But no, seriously, thank you, Gina. I appreciate it. We will do that. Large Marge sent me. Well, I appreciate Large Marge sending you. Thank you for the sticker very, very much. Is that a mushroom cloud or is that an apple? I can't tell. David, thank you again for the super chat. You're very kind. Toxic Male Gamer, says HR 842 is trash. Pro Act is unconstitutional. You'll have to forgive me. I need to, hold on, I'm looking up the, because you know HR is like, that's how they name House resolutions, bills. So I don't know all of the numbers by heart, so I'm trying to look up which one this is. Because we were talking about the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act, so I'm pretty sure that was not it. You're referring to something else, so I have to look into this. Protecting the Right to Organize Act of 2021. Okay, so I need to look into that one. Pepper Rants says, thank you for coming together again. You guys are awesome. Thank you, Pepper Rants. You're awesome. And it's always a pleasure to have Jimmy on. You know, it's Jimmy is a blast. He's the best. So, all right, I'm just refreshing over here to see if we got any other ones. Could you imagine if like the live stream cut out and I'm just talking to myself? Well, that's my job basically. I talk to myself. So I write. I'm not writing to myself when I write. Here we got some more super chats, and I cannot see them for some reason. YouTube. By the way, we got people on Rockfin who donated. I'm very sorry. For some reason, I cannot read them. But anyway, Comrade Lo-Fi says, hello from work. Much love. Please show me the rest of the message. Much love. I got premium on YouTube in order to listen to your show while I'm working. Thank you. I appreciate that very much. So that means you can lock your phone and it will keep playing in the background, right? That is very dope. I really appreciate that. Thank you. And also another advantage of YouTube Premium, I think even when they try to demonetize our videos and stuff, it can still earn revenue from that, if I'm not mistaken. In any case, I appreciate the love, Comrade Lo-Fi. Definitely a comrade. And again, I'd really, really, really urge everyone to go and sign up on Rockfin because number one, it's free. Number two, it's not just me on there. You have Jimmy, you have, name your favorites, they're on there. Ron Placone, Graham Elwood, Whitney Webb, Vanessa Bealey, Nico, Convo Couch, Unauthorized Disclosure, that's Rania and Kevin, Hardlands Media, Status Quo. I mean, everyone is on there, man. It's great. It's great. And this is, an alternative to YouTube, which we desperately need because there's no censorship. And I know some of you asked me about the Android app that's coming very soon. I asked, and yeah. So I think when I restarted the stream, it did not restart on Rockfin. That is my fault. But the other one, when I was on with Jimmy, that's up there, for example. The live stream with Jimmy, everything, every video, every live stream is always on Rockfin at the same time. So, it's really good to watch on Rockfin if you can, because number one, there's no censorship, and number two, we get paid better actually, because YouTube is taking like a 30% cut from everything. I'm not complaining. I'm just letting you know where it's going. And with Rockfin, we're getting paid much better. So, it's always good to have another platform. And the other thing, Substack. So if you want to read the articles I started writing again, you should definitely sign up. I'm going to show you what that looks like right now. So it's richardmedhurst.substack.com. You put in your email. It doesn't cost you anything. It's free, or you can just click on let me read it first, and then you can just see everything. You don't have to pay anything. And yeah, so I started with Bipartisan Murder. That was a bit about Syria and the recent bombings, and then Israel attacking the nuclear facility, and then the Syrian surface-to-air missile which landed near the reactor, and then here the interview with the ambassador. So it's kind of like where I'm writing articles now, and also posting notifications, alerts when there's like a new video or something. So yeah, and I think I'm gonna use that as also to send you live stream notifications. Okay, so just disclaimer, fair warning, if you sign up, you will get a notification when we're live. That's a pretty good disclaimer, right? So yeah, anyway, richardmedhurst.substack.com. There you go. And Rockfin as well, rokfin.com/Richard Medhurst. It's all free, doesn't cost you anything. And it's good to get off of YouTube as our main thingamajig. So give me a second over here. I need to reach without knocking over my table. Hold on. Okay. I'm trying to see what else we got because I don't want to miss anyone's super chats, right? All right, perfect. So we got some tips on Rockfin. Thank you for that. One was from Navarrete. Yair Navarrete, I hope I'm saying your name correctly. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. Brian also sent a tip. Thank you, Brian. Costello also, and said, Jimmy took the jab for Lion Fauci. Shame. I'm not sure what that means, but my brain will digest in a second. I'll get back to you. What? So, hold on. Costello said, stop the 50-plus year of failed war on drugs. Crime will diminish big time. Yeah, well, I definitely agree with you. And, Joe Biden, no less, with his crime bill. And just in general, you look at those videos where he's talking about if you have, like, I don't know, I can't remember what coin it was, a nickel, a dime, whatever. It was a coin. It was tiny. He's like, if you have this much crack, then you go to jail. And then, you look how he talks to his son. I mean, the fucking hypocrisy. So yeah, that guy's a huge proponent of the war on drugs. And you have to consider something, that the war on drugs, it didn't just destroy communities, especially communities of color in the United States. and send tons of young black men, Latinos, just minorities to jail. On top of that, the CIA made money from that. They were running crack, and on top of that, they also devastated Latin America, right? They were funding their wars with that money. So they devastated other countries with it too, on top of what they were doing inside the United States. It's a criminal empire, and this is why I always say that the United States is a mafia. It's the quintessential entity of organized crime. Truly, it's a organized crime empire carried out by the state. That's what it is. We got another super chat over here from Javi. Am I saying your name correctly? Because I'm not sure if I am, but thank you for the tip. You're often on here, and I appreciate it very much. Says, thanks for the entertainment, Richard. I enjoy both of your shows for different reasons. It makes me happy to tell people about your channel on Rockfin when they ask me where I get my political information. That I appreciate that very much, and that's really great that you also bring people to Rockfin. That's really good. Thank you very much. Nancy sent a tip as well. No note attached, but it's much appreciated. Thank you for that. We also got one on PayPal. This is from Robert. Thank you, Robert, very much. And again, I'm just checking I didn't miss anything. Because sometimes they be slow. So, all right. We got another one from Till on PayPal. Thank you very much for the donation. Trying to see if there's a note. Here we go. So Till asks, have you seen what Varoufakis, Wolf? So you mean Dr. Wolf? I've had him on, and other economists are saying about the ongoing financialization of the economy. The next big crisis will have a big impact on the already existing tensions. So I've had Dr. Wolf on not too long ago, like what was that, a month, 2 months ago, something like that. If I'm being completely honest. I follow Wolf a lot, and he's great, but I need to bring him on again so we can touch on this subject. If you don't know, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But in those cases, I would gladly and happily bring on either of them, and not just because of that, but also because of their capacity to explain things so easily and wonderfully. So, I will definitely. Give me a second. I'm copying that into my notes. And if you don't know, definitely follow Wolf. He's great. So thank you for that, Till. I really appreciate it. And I see tons of you have signed up on the Substack. That's wonderful. Tons of you have already signed up. Thank you very much. That's great. All right. Oh, we got more here on the YouTube. So Matt says, sent you an email, Richard. Looking forward to talking. Wish more journalists did the work you are doing. Thank you, Matt. I appreciate it. So you were just talking about your time in law enforcement and military. So I'm curious to hear what made you leave and share more about that. Thank you for that, Matt. We got a very big donation over here from Neshama Gluck. Am I saying that correctly? Neshama Gluck. Thank you, Richard, for allowing me to contribute to your work. Oh, so there we go. See, in the same super chat. Also, my name is pronounced with a cha sound, meaning comfort in Hebrew. Aha. So hold on. Nechama Gluck. Is that the way we say it? Nechama Gluck. So thank you. I appreciate that very much. And Hebrew and Arabic are actually very close to each other. So, they're both Semitic languages. They come from, again, if someone who studies linguistics is probably going to get mad at me, but as far as I know, they come from Aramaic, both of them, right? They're descendant from Aramaic, and they're Semitic languages. So you have a lot of vowels that are similar, like a cha sound. You don't have that in English or other languages. So it's good that and also that you have some similar words in the two languages. Like for example, bit is house in both languages. In Hebrew and Arabic means house, if I'm not mistaken. There you go. So that's good, and I really appreciate that. Thank you for the support. Holly says, appreciate you, Richie, and I see you, Holly. Holly's always on here. I appreciate that, Holly Horn. Thank you so much. So All right, give me a second, and yeah, I'm getting tons of emails. I'm thinking that I'm trying to look at what it is, and it's you guys signing up on Substack, so it makes me very happy. Thank you for that. I really appreciate that very much. So there you go. All right, guys. So with that said, again, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for supporting the channel. Thank you for supporting independent media. I'm glad you were able to see Jimmy. Again, we have a very, very important live stream tomorrow. Very important guest coming on at 9. Well, okay, for you, it's noon Pacific. Noon Pacific. So noon Pacific, that will be 3 p.m. East Coast, and 8 p.m. GMT, 9 p.m. Central European time. Okay? So basically the same time as today, noon Pacific. Be here tomorrow. It's very important. And again, thank you for supporting the show. If you've sent a donation and I missed it, I'm very sorry. I think I've read everything, and if not, I'll try to read it next time. And yeah, so again, I'll plug the show one last time before I leave. Go sign up on the Substack. It's free, doesn't cost you anything, and you'll get notifications and articles to read. So there you go, richardmedhurst.substack.com. You can also buy a paid subscription if you want, but I'm not really into paywalls. So like it gives you the ability to comment. But yeah, again, I don't really believe in paywalls. I don't know. I just, I like everyone to have access, right? And if you want to support, then I'm very grateful. I'm very grateful for that. And again, another thing, Rockfin, ROKFIN.com/Richard Medhurst. It's not just me. You're going to find all of your favorite channels on there. Great way to avoid censorship. I'm live streaming on there. I upload the videos on there. It's a great alternative to YouTube. Again, it's free. And if you want to support, it's $10 a month. But not just for me, you're going to support everyone you see. Like every single channel on the platform, you get their premium. It's great. It's Netflix for politics. And yeah, those are all free. Substack, Rockfin. And if you want, you can also donate on these things over here, Venmo, Cash App, PayPal, and there's Patreon and other things. I'll just leave the links below anyway. So I'm very grateful for you guys. Thank you, ThinkPad. I see your super chat. Thank you very much for your kind words and donation. I'm very grateful for that. So yeah, that's about it, guys. Oh yeah, and if you want War Criminal merch, we're coming up with new ones. Just go to store.richardmedhurst.com. You can find the Rainbow Coalition Death Cult thingy. I'm not rocking it today, but I do rock it often. So yeah. All right. So with that said, thank you very much. And I will see you guys very soon on, well, tomorrow at 9 p.m. Sorry, again, I keep saying it my time. Tomorrow at noon Pacific. Tomorrow at noon Pacific. All right. See you then, guys. Thank you very much. Ma salame. Adios.